Hi folks, this is advertised as an 18 volt 1.1 amp 20 watt solar panel, and it's currently out in the sun. It's doing what it's supposed to do as a solar panel, and I've wired that into the multimeter to show you what it's coming in at. So although it's rated at 18 volts, on the multimeter it's bringing in 20.8, which is really good. Now that's volts, so let me see what current that's going to bring in. Just give me a minute there. Now it's wired up for current, and according to this it's giving me 200 milliamps. Now on the advertising of the product on AliExpress it says it's 1.1 amps, but as you can see from there it's only giving me 200 milliamps. Right, according to my other multimeter it says 230 milliamps. So that's two multimeters saying it's around 200 milliamps, give or take. Okay, just to show you that this battery is 100% charged, it's saying 13.1 volts at 100%. So the idea using solar panels with LED lights, can you generate enough power? What you put in and what you get out. So I'll go through the spec in a minute, but that's the idea. Do we get enough power out to justify the power going in? Okay, so we have the 12 volt 20 amp lithium battery connected to the DC to DC converter. This is 12 volts to 24 volts 10 amps, so that's wired in there. This is on the multimeter and we're getting 24 volts from that. So this is the experiment here. I have 6 18-watt solar panels and they are being lit by 5-volt LEDs, and if you look at the power there, that's the draw. That's actually set to 5 volts 1 amp, and it's down to 3.28 volts. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've got the multimeter and I've put on the multimeter onto DC volts, and I'm getting 70 volts from that arrangement. Okay, show you there again. Okay, so what I need to do is switch this over to current and to see how much current I'm going to get. So if I switch this off, change it over to amps and put it down to amps, and you can see that's the multimeter there that's going in there. Nothing is coming up, so that means I have to go smaller than 20 amps. So if I take that out, put it into there and then go smaller, it's showing 1.0. so I think that's set to 200 milliamps, so that looks like it's a maybe it's 100 milliamps maybe with that. I think I'll have to check the setting, but it's very low. So although I am putting in 1 amp here, which is 1000 milliamps at 5 volts, I'm getting 100 milliamps and 70 volts. What I'll do is I'll wire this into the Victron MPPT controller, and I just want to see what that registers. But the thing is, because my battery is 100% charged, there'll be no power coming from this panel, these panels, into the battery, because my battery is 100% charged, so there won't be any charge. That's the only thing. I need to run down my battery for me to see something going in. But at least you can see that having 6 18 volt panels apparently is supposed to be 1.1 amp and 20 watts per panel, but that's just a AliExpress advertising, which is completely wrong, because we're not getting that at all. So there, that's the current we're getting there at the moment. Let me switch that off, move it back over to volts, put it back on volts, and we're getting 70 volts. So I'm hoping everybody can see that. I'm not trying to hide anything here. Okay, if I disconnect the lights, you'll see that it's actually set to 5. I'll just make that set to, so it's 5 volts, 1 amp, and then we'll connect it up here, and when you do that, it changes to that, and then the voltage goes to there. Now obviously if you put that into an MPP controller, that will turn them volts in back down to current. It'll drop down the voltage and turn it into current. But I've no way of testing it because my battery is 100%. So until I use some juice on the battery and get it down to about 90%, then I can check it. But I just wanted to show you the preliminary setup so you can see what I'm doing. Okay folks, this is just another little experiment just to show you what's happening here. So we have a 12 volt 20 amp lithium ion battery, and that battery is connected to a DC to DC converter. So we're running 12 volts from the battery, and this converter is upgrading the voltage to 24 volts at 10 amps. Okay, now we're running this back into the MPP controller, which is there. Hope you can see that there. And it's saying there's something coming in, but if you look at the actual power device, it is saying that 12.99 volts is going to the PV, but no amps are going into it at all. There's no amps going into it. So there's the MPP controller saying there is something going in there. Let me see if I can press the button. 14.4 volts going into the battery apparently. Okay, so MPPT controller connected to the battery. That's connected to the battery, which in turn is connected to the DC to DC converter, 12 volts to 24 volts, 10 amps, which is connected to this device which records the voltage on the amps. But according to this, nothing is going, there's no amps going into this PV at all. So I'm not sure why. I thought the amps would go in there, but they're not. And obviously the battery is 100% charged, so there'll be no charge going in. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why that no amps are going in, because the battery is 100% charged. It doesn't need the charge.